6-point brake inspection test. First, you're gonna wear the seat belt. Make sure your both brakes are out. Truck is in neutral. Then you're gonna have your key on position. Wait for ABS light to be clear. Once your ABS light clear, you're gonna have a safe start. So my truck is running right now. Now I'm gonna perform the governor cutout test. There's a 2 air gauges, primary and secondary. We're gonna watch the primary one, the brake air one. So I'm gonna build up a pressure. I'm gonna do the governor cutout test. So make sure your RPM is between 10 to 12. RPM between 10 to 12, no more than 12 RPM. So my governor cuts out, so my needle is at 124 psi, minimum 140 psi. My governor cutout test is okay. Now I'm gonna perform my governor cut-in test. For that, I need to release some air. So I'm gonna push clutch. The brake and release it. Then my needle is dropping, so we're gonna wait. Okay. So my needle stop now. I'm gonna do it again. So my needle stop again. So usually this truck cuts in at 106 psi. So my gauge is at 105 psi. Now I'm gonna give some RPM. So my needle start raising from 100 psi, minimum 100 psi. My governor cut-in test is okay. Now I'm gonna perform air leak combination test. So I'm gonna push my both brakes in, trailer and the tractor, both are in at the same time, and then I'm gonna build a pressure. And we have to make sure we have to push this in before it cuts out, so we don't have to repeat this test again.
That's what I had the issue earlier today.
So I got my pressure build up 124 psi. So I'm gonna have my key off, key on position, then wait for ABS system to be clear. So ABS is clear. Now I'm gonna push and hold my service brake for 1 minute. But my 1 minute is gonna start when my needle settle at or stop at one place. So my needle stop at 109 psi. My 1 minute starts now. You have to hold the brake good, okay? Don't move your leg or anything. So my 1 minute is over now. So my needle is at 108 psi. So I lose 1 psi, but no more than 4 psi. 3 for tractor, 1 for trailer. My air leak combination test is okay. Now I'm gonna perform low air alarm buzzer. So we had to keep pumping the service brake until alarm comes on. So my alarm came on at 64 psi. It's not a 64, it's a 61 psi. Minimum 55, maximum 75. Low air alarm buzzer test is okay. Now I'm gonna perform emergency pop out test. So I'm gonna start pumping again until it pops out. So my nerve pops out at 32 psi, minimum 20 psi, maximum 45 psi. My emergency pop-out test is okay. Now I have to perform all brake tests. For all brake tests, I need to unchoke my wheel. Can you please unchoke it? But I have to make sure before I unchoke, my brakes are out. So I already unchoked my wheel, and now I'm gonna have a safe start. My brakes are out. It's in neutral, and I'm gonna start the truck and build the pressure. I like to push my trailer brake in before 120 psi so I can build the pressure at the same time. So all the pressure going in there on the trailer. Already 124 psi. So now I'm gonna check my all brake test. So for that, I want to make sure my trailer brake's in, my tractor is out. I'm gonna put it in a low gear and release my clutch a little, just like nothing. Okay, my truck did not move. My tractor brake is okay. Now I'm gonna show you my trailer brake. Make sure I get the trailer brake out first, then the tractor one in. and then I'm gonna release my clutch again, little. My trailer don't move. My trailer brake is okay. Now I'm gonna show you my emergency brake. Make sure you hold the emergency brake and push the trailer brake in. Make sure both brakes are in. Again, release the clutch. My trailer and truck did not move. My emergency brake is okay. Now I'm gonna show you my service brake. For service brake, I'm gonna move my truck forward. I move my truck forward. Then I push my service brake. My truck and trailer stop, and also my steering wheel did not pull me left or right. That means my brakes are adjusted good and working properly. And now make sure your brakes are out, neutral, and my 6-point brake inspection is done.